Okay, the number 4, we have f of x is 1 over the square root of x squared minus 4. So we have to work this out and find out what the domain is. Now again, you see I have a fraction, so I need to make sure the denominator is not 0. And because I have a square root, what is under the square root should not be negative. So combining those two, I can just say this: x squared minus 4 should be strictly greater than 0, because if it's greater than 0, then I will obviously get a positive number there, and because it's in the denominator, I should not get 0. So I've already combined the two parts that I want. The denominator should not be 0. That's why I don't include the is equal to 0 under there. And it should be positive. So this is a quadratic inequality. We've done lots of them like this. So we said when you have a quadratic inequality, what you should do is factorize it, find what we call the critical points. So if you factorize this, you should have x minus 2, x plus 2 is greater than 0. Okay, then the critical points are the values of x that make these factors 0. So my CPs, like I like to call them, we have x is equal to 2 or x is equal to minus 2. Now these points are critical, or I say they're important, because they divide my number line into 3 regions. So this is what the number line looks like. And I put minus 2 there because it comes first, and then 2 over there. So that is the order they come into the number line. And they've divided the number line into 3 regions. There's these numbers which are less than minus 2, here between minus 2 and 0, and then between minus 2 and 2, and those that are greater than 2. Then what you do is you make a table. This is called a sign table that I'm making up. So you put in your factors here. I have x minus 2, x plus 2, and you can see I have a nice little table over here. Then what I do is, from each of these regions that my critical points divided the number line into, I pick a representative. And your representative, you need to make sure it is in that region. So over here I cannot pick minus 1 because minus 1 is here. So your representative should come from the region. So once you're familiar with it, you can go ahead and fill in the sign table without even picking a representative, because you know how to do it. But when you're starting out, it's always good to just pick a representative just to make sure. And if you're not sure, pick extreme values. Like don't maybe pick minus 1 and then you're not exactly sure where it is. Pick maybe minus 100, because you know for sure minus 100 is over there. And here I went from a positive number to a negative number, so 0 is an easy choice. And then over here I pick 100. And what I do with these representatives is that I just substitute them into these factors, and I'm not so much interested in the value that I get out, but in the sign. That's why this is called a sign table. Okay, so I substitute minus 100 in there. I have minus 100 minus 2. This is minus 102. The value is negative. That's all I'm interested in. And then minus 100 plus 2. This is negative. And I fill in the table throughout. So this will be negative. That will be positive. This will be positive. And then that is positive. So I'm substituting 0 in there. I get negative. 100 in there. Get positive. And so on. Then at the bottom here, I multiply these two because I was multiplying them over here. That's what was happening. The factors were multiplying, so I multiply them over there as well. Okay, then I multiply the signs as well. If I have negative and negative, this is positive, negative and positive, negative, positive and positive, this is positive. Then I remember that I am looking for a product that is greater than 0. Greater than 0 means positive. And if you look at this, when I multiply these two, I get a positive value in this region and in that region. So that is what my domain is going to be. And remember these points here, minus 2 and 2, they are not included, because if I substitute them in there, I get 0, and we don't want 0 in our denominator. So the domain will look like this. It goes from minus infinity to minus 2, and then I combine it with the set from 2 to infinity. So the round bracket means minus 2 and 2 are not included. If I did want to include them, though I can't over here, I would use square brackets. So this is my domain.